Business Brain, episode 661 for Casual Friday, June 27th, National Food Truck Day 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take some ideas, we crunch them, we dissect them, and we use them to tune our business brains so that each of us can keep on living our charmed lives. Our sponsors for this episode include OpenPhone.com/businessbrain. That's where you're going to go to get 20% off your first 6 months of the #1 business phone system. It streamlines and scales your customer communications. You got to check it out. We'll talk more about it in a little bit. And also Eversite.com/BB. That's where you get your own in-house web team for just $3.99 a month. Shannon's a customer. We'll talk more about that in a little bit too. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I am Dave Hamilton.
And in Lafayette, California, I'm Shannon Jean. Happy Friday.
Happy FridAI, my friend. How goes? What are we doing first here today? You want to tell me about this Delphi thing you found?
I do want to tell you.
I want to talk. We'll talk about Delphi now. But I have been comparing Perplexity and ChatGPT a little bit, and I want to talk about that later. So let's start with Delphi.
And are we talking about? We have any reviews today? We're talking about.
We have some reviews. We'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Later. Perfect. That's great. Yep. So I read a lot about AI options, different things, and one of the folks I follow was talking about an AI service called Delphi. Delphi.ai.
Yep.
And about 6 months ago, now Delphi is basically, their tagline is "Your brilliance always on," which basically takes, your mind now on demand. So it looks like they tried different things. So I'm on the pricing page, and you can bring in sources, whether it's a podcast, your YouTube channel, a bunch of your blog, your website.
Content you have already created.
You have created.
Okay.
And so they will ingest it and then create a method for people to interact, whether it is a Slack plugin, a chat on your website, all kinds of ways.
So they're cloning me, or a portion of me is the idea. Okay, yeah, their website. I love this, and it also scares me what they say here. Future-proof your knowledge. Instantly turn text, audio, or video into a living digital mind. It learns continuously, evolves with you, and mirrors your latest insights. I like this. It also is creepy.
Yes, it is.
But that's
it's AI. You could describe
that's AI
in general.
In a nutshell.
Yes,
correct.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yes, I like it. So this guy that I follow, he's talking about it, and he said, hey, he tried it late last year, and it was like, it's not there yet. I couldn't get it to do X. It wasn't very accurate or whatever. But just recently posted about it. They said, hey, it's way better. And
now
it's very accurate now. And so I am going to do an experiment. I'm going to go ahead and sign up for they have a free version that does just some limited stuff. And then their pricing starts at like $79 a month if you want to really get access to dig in to what it does. And it goes up from there, depending upon how you do it. So I think it's interesting. I think that what interests me is like the Slack integration, because I have my coaching clients in Slack. And if I was able to take all the transcripts from my coaching sessions and upload these, I've uploaded 140 transcripts to ChatGPT, and it's okay. It does give me back feedback on shared things, and it's pretty good. But it was okay. So I'm going to try this same concept here and see if I can create an advice chat, so to speak. So if I'm not available, somebody could ask a question, and it would be answered in the way that I would answer it using data that I've supplied. Because I get asked the same questions over and over, right?
Yeah.
So.
This is, that's. This is interesting. I mean, we have AI assisted customer service where it learns from your stuff. Your previous answers, your knowledge base, all of that stuff. This is, and that makes sense to me, right? Where you've got, your company has customers asking a question.
Yep.
You can have the AI be the front lines, the triage, right? If you will. If they need more, then they get escalated to a human. But this isn't, I need help with my account on your business's website. This is, I would like your Shannon Jean insight into a question that I have.
Yeah, and I think I can set up different categories. Like, for example,
of course, sure.
I could upload. I wrote a book about selling luxury goods, and I will I'll upload the whole book, and I would hopefully be able to answer. I don't know if this is true. I'm going to come back and report on this.
Yeah.
Hopefully somebody that has a question about luxury selling that I'm working with would be able to ask the question. And if I've covered that topic, which chances are I have, about photography or listing information, all this kind of stuff, it could provide that data to them in a...
Well, that makes sense to me.
Yes,
but what if I ask a question that you have not specifically answered? So instead of it mining this data base of your content and saying, I found Shannon's answer to this question. What if somebody asks a question that you haven't answered yet? Is it going to try and intuit?
I don't know that. Here it says it handles a routine guidance and generates valuable insights for your live sessions. So
interesting.
Perhaps,
I'm curious.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer. Perhaps if you asked something that you had not answered before, it would respond in such a way that said, "That's a great question. We'll cover that in our next session." And alert me or alert me in Slack, like, "Hey, so and so needs." So I don't know how it's going to work.
I'm curious.
I'm definitely curious how this works. And I think it would be great to have in my community. I have 560 members in my reseller mastermind. And so, the current level, those people just pay $5. So it's like, I can't hang out there all day and answer questions, but it would be fascinating to me if I could give this AI enough data about my reselling and give it access to my community to where it could create answers
or mine your data for those answers.
For those people. Like, I hear, how do I get my resale permit in Texas?
Sure.
Oh, and then the next day it's, how do I get my resale permit in Florida? Even though you have, I guess a big part of it, it's easier for people to ask questions than to do their own research.
Oh, for sure.
So if you can give them access to that research and say, ask as many questions as you want, it could present them in a good manner. So we'll have to see. I will report.
I'm really
back on
curious.
This.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Me too, but I'm going to do it because I think it could save me a lot of time.
All right. Well, I want to talk about what I'm learning, experimenting, comparing Perplexity and ChatGPT. I also want to share some reviews that you all have sent in. The next thing that I want to do is talk about our two sponsors. Because, have you ever tried juggling flaming batons while answering client calls and typing emails with your feet? Yeah, me neither. But running a business without our sponsor, OpenPhone, might feel just about that chaotic. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that keeps you connected without turning you into a 24/7 call zombie. It runs through an app on your phone or computer, so you don't need to carry two phones, or worse, share your personal number with that client who sends 2 a.m. texts about font choices. And the real magic? Your whole team can share one number and collaborate like it's a group chat with call and text history, so nobody drops the ball. Plus, their AI agent answers after hours, handles questions, and captures leads while you sip tea and lead your charmed life. Whether you're solo or scaling up, OpenPhone is the business line built for builders. And OpenPhone is offering our listeners of Business Brain 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/businessbrain. That's openphone.com/businessbrain. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Keep living that charmed life. And our thanks to OpenPhone for sponsoring this episode. And now let's talk websites, because if your business website is still rocking that 2012 vibe with spinning GIFs and Comic Sans, it's time for an intervention. And Eversite, our sponsor, is your always on-call web team for just $3.99 a month. That's it. No $10K setup fee, no long-term contract, just reliable humans who pick up the phone, reply to your texts, and yes, will rescue you when your ancient WordPress site gets hacked by a 14-year-old with a hoodie and a Red Bull. These folks build your new site and proactively manage it so you can spend your brain power where it matters, on growth, not glitchy plugins. Think of Eversite as the secret weapon in your back pocket, right next to your emergency chocolate, of course. They're already managing hundreds of business sites, and they'll treat yours like it's the homepage of the moon landing. And Shannon, I think you are a customer of Eversite, right?
I am. And the reason I'm a customer is because I was reaching out to a bunch of services. I needed help. My site got hacked and everything was down. It was a disaster. I think it was a weekend. And Eversite was the only one that had solutions right away. Everybody else like, yeah, we can build this and we can do this. Call us on Monday or we'll set up an appointment next week. And Eversite was like, okay, if you have an emergency situation, we'll do this, and this, and that will stop the bleeding. Then we can talk. And
that's amazing.
And yeah, I love those guys. They're fantastic.
That's amazing. I love it. You can be an Eversite customer too at eversite.com/BB. That's EVERSITE.com/BB. And our thanks to Eversite for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have, so let's talk about this Perplexity thing.
Yes.
I have been a ChatGPT user and customer for years now.
Same.
And
Yep.
I have a lot of data in there. I am emotionally and habitually committed to ChatGPT. But it is imperfect. I don't expect it to be perfect, but it is imperfect. And I have learned where its imperfections are. One of the things that really drives me crazy about it is its interest in making sure that it pleases me. So I've learned I have to be really careful about how I ask questions, because I don't want to lead it to the answer that it thinks I want. I want the answer, not what would please me. And it drives me crazy when
ChatGPT is certainly a big yes man.
It's a yes man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that part gets frustrating for me. And I've started playing around with Perplexity. Listeners to this podcast and listeners to some of my other podcasts keep telling me this is the thing that I'm using for my general searching. So as a search engine replacement, I've started thinking about, okay, because ChatGPT, if I ask the question the wrong way, it just tells me what it thinks I want to hear as opposed to what the answer is. And I am getting much better responses out of the free version of Perplexity. I haven't started paying for it yet, but for the last week or so, I have been sort of defaulting to Perplexity. When I have time, I do the same search in both Perplexity and ChatGPT. Sure. And it's not, ChatGPT is not winning this particular.
It's fascinating. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's so I need to start using it for more things. And I probably will wind up paying for it for a couple of months, as what I need to do is just shift to it for a month.
Is there an aggregator that taps into different AIs that you can use, and then it would come up and give you the answer and show you which AI it used. It seems like an opportunity for somebody.
Oh, that is, I don't know of one, but if you do, feedback at businessbrain.show. Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah. One thing that's frustrating to me about ChatGPT, and again, I've used it more than any other, so I know its limitations. It doesn't mean that others don't have this limitation.
Sure.
But one of the really frustrating things is if I'm in a very long session with it, either digging into some topic or programming with it where I'm having it create code for me or whatever, it will, if we get off on a tangent, like we're talking about something and it's like, all right, well, there's this one thing, let's explore that. It will forget that there was an overreaching thing. The tangent becomes the only thing that matters. And I've gotten to a point where it's like, okay, well, now we have the answer. It's like, no, we have the answer to the tangent. Did you forget? Like, it's literally in the same chat stream.
Yeah,
Did you
forget?
It forgets.
Yeah,
it really does. And it's dangerous. And
it's definitely dangerous. It's way overconfident. And it will just lie blatantly to you over and over. And you're like, no. And then it'll go, oh, you're right to call me out. This kind of thing. It's all happy and jovial. And It takes no offense to it. Yeah. But like I've noticed with programming, I'm very concerned about people who are using it for vibe coding that don't know how to program already. Because I've done things where, I build a thing and it's like, okay, great. We've got this. Hey, let's look at this other part of this. Okay, let's look at the other part. And then it's like, all right, well, it's done. It's like, oh my gosh, no. If I didn't know how to read through the code and parse it myself, this thing would be creating things that I did not want it to create. It's very easily. Yeah. And that's dangerous. So sure.
So I'm going to start messing with Perplexity more, but
it sounds also like that's another opportunity to clean up your vibecode.com, right? Where you could do your coding and then go and say, hey, we're going to go through and tell you the garbage or how that's going to cause a problem, because there are lots of people doing just that,
I know.
Building stuff that don't know. Yeah.
They don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's wild.
We got 2 reviews that I want to talk through.
Nice.
The first comes from EnricoLimcaco. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. From Apple Podcasts here in the United States. 5 stars. Great listen for people who have time to talk business, folks, even designers and creatives like me. Enrico continues, I'm a big fan of Dave's other show, Mac Geek Gab, which is how I learned about Business Brain. Each episode is packed with ways to get the mindset of someone who's successfully leading or a thriving business or side hustle. Advice that also translates well if you're managing up as an employee. Plus, Shannon and Dave share their experience with a ton of tactical tips and tools that usually back up this way of business thinking. Yeah, usually. Jump into any episode, then there's generally a lot of evergreen advice for anyone. Thank you, Enrico. That's great.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And then we got one from King Dave. That's not me. King Dave from Apple Podcasts in the United States, 5 stars, a higher level show for higher level business owners. I found this podcast from another project of host Shannon Jean. He is just as great here as he is in his $5 mastermind and his numerous appearances on the Corner Office podcast. Here you truly will tune your business brain. The FridAI segments are very actionable and set this show apart. Again, more
FridAI.
I know, man. Yeah, It's crazy. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. It's a great segment because it's such an important part of what's next.
Yeah.
Right? And we're learning just along with you too, and just sharing it and coming up with ways that hey, we like last week we talked about a new note-taking I'm using granola, and I've been using quite a bit. And it's like, hey, it's pretty good and different things. So if we'd love to hear from you, your AI recommendations or how you're building things. And also, that's feedback at businessbrain.show. Reviews, get yourself entered to win a MacBook. We're giving away this year. And where do they go, Dave, to leave a review?
businessbrain.show/review. And then you got to let us know once we read it in the show. Shoot us an email because we need to be able to put you on that list for winning that MacBook. So we got to know. We got to know who you are. Yeah.
And talk to us. We want to hear from you. So we're not just speaking into the void, and we want to be able to talk about stuff you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for sending in your reviews. Thanks for all of it. You are the reason we do this. So thank you. Keep living that charmed life. Have a great weekend. See you next week.